I remember a few years ago I had the most amazing passion fruit brulee, and what really got me was the presentation of the brulee. The actual passion fruit brulee is served in the passion fruit skins. Now, to start with, you need to mould nests just like this with some foil, and the best way to do it is just get a small square of foil, get one of the whole passion fruits and just wrap it around like this so it's the perfect size. And you can see when it sets in the fridge, it'll be quite stable. So once you've done your moulds, which I have here, I've got 16, we can start making the custard. So in a pot here, I'm just going to turn it on. We need to infuse the cream with the passion fruits. Now I've got a lot of passion fruits here because I want to really taste it in here. 250 grams of cream. Scoop all of that out. And I'm giving you the quantities for a really small batch of brulees because you can see you don't really need too much for this. And I'm just going to cut this last passion fruit. Use a serrated knife for this because it works much easier. And then we're going to carefully scoop out all of the pulp there and place it into the cream to infuse. Depending on your taste, you can add as much or as little passion fruit pulp as you like. I like a good hit of it, so I'm going to use 8 passion fruit. Then I'm also going to add a vanilla bean and then bring this to the boil and then turn it off. Now that this is bubbling away slightly, I can turn the heat off and just let that infuse, and we can start whisking some eggs. Now I need 3 egg yolks for this, so we're just going to split our eggs in half. We'll just get rid of the shells, but we can keep those egg whites. I always just freeze them so I can make some meringues at a later date. So they go in. And for some sugar, 75 grams of caster sugar, which I'll measure out. And you do need to use caster sugar for this because we're going to start whisking this. It's going to double in size and it's going to get really pale. So with a whisk furiously until it starts to become pale. See how that's becoming pale now? And that's what we're looking for. Wonderful. So whisk out. And with a sieve on top, we're going to pour in our cream there. You can see it's changed colour. It's just got a beautiful scent to it, a beautiful perfume, I would say. And we're just going to, using our spatula there to try to get as much of that milk out as possible. And I'll just put that to the side. And now, with a whisk, we're just going to mix that. You want to mix it quite fast so those eggs don't start to cook. And now we return this back to the pan. Now this is not a traditional style brulee. We're not baking it in the oven. What we're actually going to do is use a little bit of gelatin to set these brulees. So it actually cuts out a stage here. So with your spatula, we're just going to mix this on a really low to medium heat, I'd say, until this thickens up slightly. So I've got a little bit of melted white chocolate here. I've just melted that in the microwave so I can add that to the mixture now. It's just a small amount, just a hint of sweetness from that white chocolate that we're looking for. And then, again, continually stir that. If that's too hot, what will happen is it'll start to scramble, it'll start to split, and then you'll have to start again. So it's best just to have it on that medium heat to be on the safe side. Okay, that's what we're looking for. See if you can cut through the spoon when you get a little bit on and you can see a clear line in the actual spatula. We can turn the heat off. We'll take it off and let's add the gelatin. Now the gelatin I'm using is gold leaf. I've got 1 3/4 gelatin leaves here. This is the perfect amount for this quantity. And in it goes, and all we need to do now is just allow that to dissolve. So mix it in and it will dissolve quite fast. Now that that has dissolved, we're going to strain it just one more time so we've got a smooth mixture, and I'm going to strain it into a jug so it's just easier to pour into our moulds. And you'll see by straining it that second time you will get either a little bit of cooked egg there, see that? Or a little bit more pulp. So really worth doing that extra step. And now we're up to the last bit. We can put them in the mould. So we'll get our little half shells here and place them into the foil. And then this is where you need to take care, hold it, and then pour that mix in all the way to the top. These aren't going to rise, these are going to set as is. So we'll just put that down. I'm gonna fill up the rest, and then they just need to set in the fridge. Now, they're not very big, so they're not going to take long. Give it at least 3 to 4 hours, or even better, just do them the night before. Now to the fun part. You can see that these have set nicely. You need some demerara sugar here, and we're just going to sprinkle that demerara sugar all over the top. So an even coating of this. I love the flavour of the demerara sugar, and it'll ensure that we get an even crunchy brulee once we start to flame it. And with a blowtorch, I think it's much better to have a blowtorch when you're actually doing brulees like this. You can put them under the grill, but actually start to heat up the custard, and we don't want that. So these are great investments, and the best ones to get are actually from your local hardware store, because they've got a bit more guts to them than the traditional cooking ones. So very carefully, in a rolling motion, we're just going to burn the top of the brulee until that demerara sugar starts to change colour. And I just go a little bit at a time on each of them and then come back. And you can start to smell that toffee. Look at this one. This one's just perfect. There is a few different ways to present this, but I think the best way is to use a little bit more sugar to act as a little mound so it can sit on it. So just with some caster sugar now, I'm just going to make 3 mounds. We'll get our brulees, our passionfruit brulees, and just nestle them into the mounds there. They look so good. A fantastic dessert canapé.